Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, Geshema.
I'm so sorry. This in the platform is working really little strange, but I think Toyola, Lawson Toyola is also is like the kind of a big 1 minute. Okay, so where I was actually, speaking about the one who has transformed into a reliable guide, motivated by autism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to you amid prostration. So I was just explaining about, what does it mean by mind? Mind means like mind itself, the definition, very definition of mind is clear and knowing. So it's separate than the brain and the physical body. So clear and knowing what, do you get this sense? What does it mean by clear and knowing? Because, it's very clear, like a pure, clear, like a filter water or the clear sky is very clear. And then knowing it has two aspects, okay? Clear and knowing. Clear is, which means like the very nature of mind is very clear. But then how come we are all so kind of afflicted or negative, or, our mind is kind of diluted? The delusion or the, affliction are adventitious. It's not really in the nature of the mind. So clear and knowing means, so the mind have the capacity or the potential to know what is right, what is wrong, and what is good, what is not good, and what is positive, what is not negative. And it has the capacity to know things. So that actually make the kind of a significant sort of a point that mind is separate than the brain. That's just my kind of, just not just a belief, but the mind is very important. Here, I have quoted one thing from the, uh, like a Dhammapada from Dhammapada is a tag, like a sutra by Lord Buddha, where it says, mind is the chief and precede them all. If with if with pure mind one acts or speak, miseries follows like a cart following the ox. And then another verse, mine is the chief and precede them all. If with pure mind one acts or speaks, happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. So, the mind is the main thing, where whether one, like a want to be like lead one's life lead to happiness or unhappiness. If we act or speak with a impure mind, and then the all the trouble, the misery or the problem will occur. If the mind, if we with a pure mind, if we act and speak, it leads us to the happy and prosper and peaceful, environment. So mind is the chief. This is what way it says. So these are the kind of quotation, and it's coming from the Buddha's teaching, but it's a reality. It's, mind is, we experience every day from 24/7. We say, we are experiencing our own mind. Sometimes, of course, when you get busy, we know we sometimes we don't know who we are. But that we are experiencing, like our own mind means like, the mind, the very nature of mind, clear and knowing what we say. Clear, but the thing is, sometimes we did not really recognize what does it really mean because of the advantages of the, delusion. So, I mean, this word that we use in delusion, some people may not really, kind of familiar with it, but, the delusion or illusion or affliction, these lead us to an unhappiness. The root causes of unhappiness and this misery and the suffering, there are three poison. Have you heard this word? In the, the three poison means like ignorance, attachment, and aversion. So these are known as three poison. Because of the impure mind or the affliction, it leads us to unhappy, or misery, or unwanting, unkind of wanted, like things that happen. The opposite, for example, like ignorance, the opposite of ignorance is wisdom. The capacity, or the mind have the capacity, the mind have the quality, that we we will be able to know what is reality. Ignorance means like there are, we've got like a very technical things. There are so many different layers out there, but in general, ignorant means not knowing the reality well. So because of we are not knowing the reality, then because of that, we create all sort of trouble. Because of ignorance, aversion and attachment arise within, like our mind stream. And then aversion and attachment, what attachment means is like in any object or any, phenomenon, anything that you are clinging and you do not let it go blindly. Attachment is like more like a blindly. It is a misperceiving, or like a misperceiving the reality. Attached, clinging, me and mine. Me and mine are the most important, others are not. This kind of mental attitude, attachment and aversion mean, like a attract and push and pull, this kind of word that we use. Our mind, if the mind is like influenced by attachment, we, like a pull toward the object or yourself, or your, family, or your family friend, or maybe your country. And if you are influenced by what was that, aversion, we push them like it is. But in reality we are all connected. The wisdom that play a crucial role, that we are all connected. It's very kind of, like obvious that, if you think really carefully, if you use our, wisdom and mind, if you our mind if you use our mind correctly, it has tremendous capacity. You can open our heart like infinitely. So this is our mind, okay? So that's why the Dharmapada, in the Buddha said, mind is the chief. This mind is the main that create the most precious thing, most, like a wanted thing, wanted thing, or it could lead us the most destructive thing, externally manifesting. And you could see in the world right now, whatever is happening around the world that we really don't want. For example, fighting, conflict, like individually, if you have like, if our mind is influenced like a really, like a strongly influenced by ignorance and attachment and aversion, we won't be happy at all. So on the other way, if you open our mind, if you just let it go, this clinging, me is the most important, others are not, this kind of attitude, if you let it go, think about the inclusively, all sentient beings, all sentient being means, including animals, insect, and then human being, of course. We are human being, we have this beautiful mind. Many people even don't believe them. I think not just a belief, but the human mind has tremendous capacity to make like a good thing. You could offer a lot, for when we talk about world peace or happiness should start from individual, right? So if the individual happy, and if the individual is happy and peaceful, then we can create peaceful and happy friend, family, and community. So, but then, of course, it's not easy. It takes a time. It takes time. But then, that we have the beautiful tradition, and then we have the treasure that available, all these teachings from all the different authentic tradition. And then, since coming from the Nalanda tradition, maybe you have heard about what the Nalanda tradition means. The Lord Buddha Shakyamuni have given this teaching about how to shape our mind. if we shape our mind, it will influence our behavior. If we are able to control our mind, and then we will be happy, and our physical body will be also kind of more or less healthier. These are kind of evident, as many of the world renowned scientists are actually noticing. I mean, those who are having a kind of dialogue or conversation with His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the last, like, what, almost 40 years, and they are doing a lot of research about how this mind, and then talking about this three poison, and the opposite side is sorry, ignorance could be eliminated or minimized by increasing the capacity of our mind, like a wisdom. Wisdom means like a discerning mind, that we wisdom is the discerning mind, or the capacity of the mind, or the quality of the mind that give us differentiate things, what is right and what is wrong, what is good for you and what is not good for you. If something good for you, and then it's also good for others as well. It's not really like an external thing. I'm not really talking good and bad about the food or the clothes. Of course, these are also a thing, but they are the minimal minimal sort of thing. But main thing is, what is good for you means, like, what bring you great kind of satisfaction or fulfillment. If you practice compassion or patience, for example, like anger, if you get angry all the time, you won't be happy. If you get like hate, if you hate hatred, aversion toward others or oneself, as well as oneself, there's no happy and peaceful thing at all. So to minimize anger, you practice patience. To minimize like aversion, we practice loving kindness. To minimize like hurt oneself and others, practice compassion. To minimize the ignorance, to minimize like narrow-minded, very close thinking, and do some study about wisdom. What does it really mean, wisdom? What does it really mean, give you wisdom things? Wisdom, that knowing reality, the interdependencies, impermanence, and then there is another, like a big thing in Buddhism, emptiness. That's very important. Without really, knowing about emptiness, there's no way that we could, minimize or rid of, ignorance. So the these are all actually quality of our mind, but the quality of the mind not necessarily be like a good, like something that we needed. These are quality of the mind, but the advantages of the affliction, if afflictive mind of mind are adventitious, which means a temporary. It's not really the nature of the mind. The nature of the mind is very clear. For example, when you look at like a little baby, so like a very newborn baby, or maybe it's young, like a three, for example, like a 2, 3 year old, babies, they are so pure. I mean, I'm kind of a funny person. I go sometimes to the village where they don't have much influence about the technology and this very sophisticated thinking, and just observing these little kids, how they act and how they, like play with other kids, and they're so pure. And I'm from Ladakh, and I often go to visit my family, and I just look at these kids, and they play with like a dirt and like, and then stone and water, but they're really, really, really pure. And if we educate these kids with the quality, how do you really improve our mind, how do you transform our mind, I think our world will be a little different than what we are facing these days. But I'm not saying that everything is negative in our world. There are so many beautiful things in our world. So we need to grasp what is good thing happening in the around the world, and what is something that not really unwanted thing happening, and is there a way that we can do some contribution to bring about, minimize this conflict and the problem, and then increase the, like the message of the Buddha, which is compassion, loving kindness, patience, understanding. So, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, and, altruism, in like a mutual understanding. These are all actually quality of the minds. There is a way that you can really increase it infinitely. There's a way that we can train it. There's a way that we can actually transform it. How? We By judging this, the value of increasing the good qualities and then devalue this negative, the affliction. For example, in the ancient Indian and Nalanda texts, where you have identified different, like a mind and mental factors. The mind is clear in knowing, and we have like a six primary mind. And then the there's another one is called mental factors. In there we have identified like a 51 or 51 mental factors according to like a upper, Abhidharma, and then the 52 according to the Pali tradition. And then each one, if you, like a study each one by one, the definition and how it really, relate with our own experience. And then we can really train these in the, we can really train ourselves. So of course, by, be able to train our mind, we can have true smile. I'm saying like we need to learn how to smile genuinely. Genuinely mean like, if you from deep down, if you feel like a content and feel kind and feel relaxed and feel uh, peace. And you stay like, the mind is, his holiness often say, the his holiness and Dalai Lama's name, Tenzin Gyatso. Gyatso means the ocean. Okay. He often tell like, my mind is just remain like an ocean. Means the ocean is just very relaxed, and it just, of course, these waves come. The waves are like the mental factors, the gross and subtles are there. But then when you go back to the ocean, the what was that? The waves of the ocean go back to the ocean again, right? Similarly, different, mental factors and different, excitement, or in, the excitement or the laxity, or there are different, disturbing one that it could occur. But we need to be able to recognize how these are arising. And affliction means there are six, like a root affliction, and then 20 secondary afflictions are there. And we need to recognize one by one. We can have more classes and we can study one by one, and then how to really, increase the, there are. And then also, not not only affliction, there are like 11 virtues of mental factors, and much more. And six perfection of wisdom, or there are 10 perfection. And then there are so many, tools that we can study, and then do some contemplation. And then if possible, some experience means like meditate. What is meditate mean? Actually get experience. So to experience compassion and loving kindness, of course, we need to understand, and we need to see the quality with goodness, the richness things of this mind in the mental, mental mind. What was that? Mental qualities. And then uh the opposite, the affliction. So the affliction, something that bring us unhappiness or unwanted thing. And then the virtuous mind, 11 virtuous minds are there in the psychology, but then we more. And if you study one by one, and then we see, oh, I have, some of these qualities. And then that give us more kind of encouragement to move forward rather than, go backward. So psychology means like study of the mind, and then how we really work with this, how to work with the mind. This mind is really, really important. We have to study mind thoroughly, and then do meditation. And so I think, mind is achieved, and then let me see. Oh. Okay, I want to just share with one thing about the mind. What is mind? Mind means like a clear and knowing. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama have, I know, given, like a concise and clear explanation where he says, His Holiness the Dalai Lama described the intrinsic connection between the clear and knowing aspect of the mind this way. The knowing nature or agency is called mind, and this is non-material, non-physical. Okay, and then it's a cognitive events passes the nature of knowing because of the fundamental nature of clarity that underlies all cognitive events. This is the mind's fundamental nature, the clear light nature of the mind. Wait, this is actually, so let's actually explain what, where the mind, the consciousness or the mind, the definition or the meaning of the mind is clear and knowing. It has two aspects, right? Clear and knowing. So this is what His Holiness said. And then I think, in Buddhist psychology, we have so many mind and mental factors are there. And it's known like a sevenfold division of the mind, threefold division of the mind, twofold division of the mind, and then five main mind and 51 or 52 mental factors. And then okay, I think I've already, like explained a little bit about how to overcome affliction emotion, how to overcome affliction emotion, applying the antidote, applying the remedy. So if you are like a sick, or if you are like a infectious by like a germ, we eat antibiotic or we eat medicine, right, that heal our illnesses. Similarly, the affliction, ignorance and attachment and angers and jealousies, these are mental disease. So how to really overcome this? Yeah, by applying the remedies and by applying the opposite side. For example, I said like for ignorance, wisdom emptiness, or altruism, or other words, the bodhicitta, and wisdom realizing the emptiness or the interdependencies. And then attachment, meditating on, there's like there are short term like a, the antidotes has like there are two different types of antidotes out there: the direct antidote, or the antidote or the remedy that eliminate from the root, from uproot it. We have to realize emptiness or the interdependency clearly, otherwise no way. But to express, we have this really gross afflictions. So then you could express some them. And then in Abhidharma, where you have to overcome attachment, you have mentioned about meditating on the breath, and then the suffering nature of the contaminated aggregates. Our aggregate is little filthy. I'm sorry. So we have to think about, oh, this body is, because of this, our body, we are facing some trouble, right? Then how can you really rid of that? We can't really rid of our body. When we die, our body will be burned, right? Or cremated, or maybe buried. But then you have to search what is the root causes. It's not really our parents, our parents give us this body, the body is, why the body got it, because of the main cause, which is ignorance. And then we could study more like there's a with that we could study about the 12 links, how you really take rebirth into the suffering world, and how can you really go like liberate from the suffering world. And okay, yeah. I just gave him like a three example about ignorance, antidote for ignorance, and like a wisdom, attachment, breathing, like meditation on breathe and suffering nature of the contaminated aggregate. And then a remedy for anger is practicing patience. So then one may ask how? Practice patient. Some people may think practice patient means, if you do not really realize the quality, the values of practicing patient, one may think that person is too weak because he or she can't really, like stand up and fight back. If you fight back, if someone is, causing you like a anger, and then causing you trouble, if you do not really practice, instead of practice patient, if you clash back, It's the same thing that, when there's a fire, if you put a kerosene on it, kerosene, like a oil or kerosene, it will burn, have the whole thing. So then you think about, okay, if someone is causing you some anger, like causing you a problem with anger, and think carefully about why this is happening. Maybe he or she maybe not really knowing the clear situation. So, and we could make some pray. Okay, slowly, slowly, he or she will come into the right path. Otherwise, anger will kill us. I had a friend. This is I never forget about this. She was saying like anger, only the anger can kill me. Oh, that's interesting. She wasn't really like a Buddhist, or she wasn't really study any, philosophy or anything, just a normal people. And they said, anger is the enemy. Anger can kill me. Okay, this means like they are recognizing anger is not good, right? And that's really good step, just recognizing the, like anger and like anger, aversion, jealousy are not good. That can kill you. If that kill you, then why you really, friend with that? It's a better to just try to, like try to move away. Move means like realize this is not good, and I want to just, overcome it. So I think we are what time? What are we doing with the time? Uh,
It looks like there's about 15 minutes still.
oh, okay. So then I think, yeah. I think I'll cover what I'm supposed to plan, and if anybody have any question, I welcome you to ask question, and it's not necessarily I can answer everything, but when I can answer whatever I can. If not, we can study more in the future, right? So if we have only 15 minutes, so maybe we'll do some Q&A, and that would be good, right? Thank you for the, connection is quite stable now. So if you have a question, please, do I have to unmute, or you can unmute by yourself? Okay, maybe you raise your hand and then I'll unmute you, right?
I think everyone can unmute themselves, it looks like. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then that's good. You could ask anything with a happy or happiness mind, and or anything else, you could ask anything that what you want, and then I can try my best to answer. If not, we can study more in the future. We have to keep the door always open, and you have to expand our heart, you know okay,
I think
cool.
Terry's
Simon.
hand is up there.
Oh,
Yep,
Terry's okay. Terry.
yes. Thank you, Geshema.
Mhm.
Wonderful to see you. Could you explain what the antidote to jealousy and envy is, please?
Oh, antidote to jealousy.
Yes.
Exactly, jealousy. Talk. I think, I don't know exact, direct antidote, but, to jealousy, the antidote to jealousy is to see like good qualities of the other people. We jealous
Hmm.
other people, others, good things. Or maybe good thing, or, like belonging or their thing. So if you think about the others, put others before self,
Yes.
so that will minimize your, that will definitely minimize the jealousy, and also, to see the values of others, kindness, to see the good
Yes.
qualities of others rather than, yourself. And, the others, you could maybe you could be jealous for others, good thing, as well as, usually jealous for others, good thing, but good and bad is also a kind of really relative terms, right?
Hmm.
So I think would say like, to see the values of others, good qualities, and then respect. Oh, respect would be another thing too.
Yes. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
You're welcome.
Someone typed in also, I guess it's a secondary question off that from Rashad. She said, or she said, would you say that it's to rejoice? I think meaning is that something you could say is an antidote to jealousy? Rejoicing.
Would you rejoicing? I see, rejoicing. That's another thing. That's true. Yeah, rejoice for others, good thing. The rejoice for others, good legacies. If you rejoice others, good qualities, and if you rejoice others, like legacies, our own qualities will increase. Our own, goodness will increase. If you're jealous, our own goodness will diminish. Yeah, that's really good. See, we are learning together. That's wonderful. Anything else? Anybody else have any question? It's a really good room that we can learn each other together and smile together. You see, the topic is happiness, right? And happiness, you know, many people say His Holiness and the Dalai Lama have the true smile. And of course, there are so many beings who have true smile. True smile or genuine smile can come only those who have who those mind is that the word that we use it tame, those who have like their mind is stable, their mind is not really like influenced by the negatives. Yes, any other question?
Yes, hello, Venerable. Thank you. I wanted to ask, why is it important that the mind is clear?
Why is it important the mind is clear?
Yes.
Oh, it's not really the question of important or not. The nature of the mind is clear. This is the explanation. And then, the nature of the mind, the very true nature of the mind is clear. Then affliction is advantageous or it's like a temporary. And we often use this like a metaphor, sky and the cloud. Sky, the true nature of the sky is clear. But then when it cloud and fog come, you can't really see the true nature of the sky. Similarly, all the afflictions cover the goal, like the true nature of the mind. So it is the reality. In reality, mind is clear and knowing, but then whether we are able to realize it or not is a question. So we need to study. But there are technique that you meditate on how our mind really work. Like awareness and awareness. These kind of term that people use. So whatever term you use, but to get the familiar, to get the friend with our mind, to familiarize with our mind. There's a meditation, there's a technique that we can learn how our mind is clear and knowing. So, it is important. Without mind, there's nothing. I mean, what can you do without mind? I mean, if there's no mind, it's the same thing with the rock and trees or the mountains, right? So then because of this mind, we experience a good thing. We can make some progress. We can, help each other. We can communicate with each other. We can contribute so many, others because of the mind. I know whether I was actually answering directly or not, but this is what in reality mind is clear and knowing. And then what is important? The important is to recognize the mind is clear and knowing. The important is to recognize and to familiar with it.
Thank you.
Does it answer what you are looking? Or maybe we could explore more in the future and read more and then do some contemplation about the mind. That would be really helpful. Yes, anyone else? And
There's one hand up in the at the Forest of Wisdom property. It looks like in the house, but I think someone has to go up to the phone to unmute it because it's muted right now. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
yes, yes.
I was going to say that in the Theravada tradition, the antidote to jealousy would be what they refer to as the four divine abodes, specifically the practice of altruistic joy or appreciative joy. So you, instead of being jealous, you try to cultivate a happiness for that individual, what they're experiencing, rather than you wanting to get that also.
Oh, joy. Yeah, rejoice and joy.
Kawat seme sabore kofra. Kawat seme.
Oh, really. Thank you. That's actually like you said joy, right?
Appreciative joy or altruistic joy.
Altruistic joy is the antidote to jealousy, right?
Yes, the third divine
Well,
abode.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's also another way to think. I mean, yeah, there are so many, like, when you what does it mean by antidote? Means like the affliction or the negatives, qualities of the mind, by meditating on the mind, by contemplating the joy, rejoice, and altruism, compassion, then the negative side or the affliction side will like decrease or minimize slowly, and then we won't have this strong kind of attachment or jealous or hatred or aversion. So that's it's not really a direct antidote. I would say the direct antidote means like uproot from the root, to overcome from the root. To overcome from the root, the ignorant is actually the chief, the mastermind that create all the jealous. Because we jealous, we hate, we get this unwanted kind of a mind because of ignorance, because of not knowing the reality clearly. Yes, Megan La.
Thank you, Geshema. I have a question about attachment as in terms of when we find ourselves repeating patterns over and over again and realizing that we're creating the same situations for ourselves. What could we, I know contemplation's part of that, and things like trying to make ourselves aware of the causes of those types of things. How else can we work to become more clear about our attachments?
Become clear about attachment. Attachment means like wanting. The attachment, the wanting and needs are different. There's a difference between the want and needs. So maybe you need to be happy. You need to be like at peace. You need to live like happily. But wanting is the affliction. Like very much in like a attachment is actually the main kind of another like the three poison. How to familiarize, you said how to familiarize with attachment. What was that exactly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, when we are finding ourselves in the same patterns over and over again, or grasping or clinging and creating more attachments for ourselves in the same types of ways.
Same types of ways.
This comes from I just recently went through a breakup. And so I'm
Oh.
finding that I have many patterns that I now, in hindsight, could recognize. But when I was
Okay.
I couldn't recognize them as being the same pattern.
I see. Maybe try to let it go, and we have to find different ways and means how to let it go. I mean, attachment, attach or the object, or attach or the person, or attach for things, attach or yourself. And so just maybe we have to try to let it go. And it's just a life. It's a part of life. It things comes and goes, right? And nothing is impermanent. I'm sorry, nothing is permanent. Nothing is last forever. And things can change. So maybe think about impermanence, or of course, it's not really directly, antidote to attachment. I think meditating about impermanent, but attach. I think I would say let it go. Try to let it go and stay. If you have the two attachment toward the object or the person, in the text, as I mentioned, actually just stay away from that object for beginner, especially for like a beginner. Just stay away. Don't go near to that. I mean, of course, it's not easy, probably, but it's just let it go, and not really completely ignoring or like abandoning, but just stay away. And do something else, maybe read or maybe watch some documentary about like a spiritual life, like a spiritual path, or maybe watch some Buddha's like a life, the series of the Buddhas, where how the Buddha actually abandoned his kingdom and ran away from his family, and like the whole luxury life, and just went into the wandering into the like in jungle. But of course, we are very like ordinary people. We can't really do exactly the same as the Buddha, but Buddha is actually an example for us, and we can learn a lot. Maybe just watch some like a Life of the Buddha series. They're available on internet, I think YouTube, the Life of the Buddha, and then His Holiness documentary, a lot of thing about them. And then there are many beings, so, like read some books and like watch some like a beneficial documentary. And so we have to find like a ways and means, how do you really stay away from this the pattern, what you are saying, like, and go repeat it again and again, right? Sometimes it's really of course, it's some sort of kind of annoying thing that could happen, but then it's a lesson. Each and everything is lesson for our life. May have to just think about, oh, how how kind them that give me like how to practice some patience. It actually creates some kind of platform for you to understand that this kind of situations existence, right? Yep. Do we have a oh, okay. It is important to recognize that there are chat here. It is important to recognize that. Oops, 1 minute. It's important to recognize that we are feeling jealous first, and recognize what the cause of that is before the find. Cause of that is before we find antidote to that jealousy. I mean, antidotes, I actually say the antidote, they say, Simon, right? You have wrote this question. It is important to recognize that we are feeling jealousy first. No, jealousy that just happened. We do not really intentionally jealous. It's something that came from many, 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 long time before. It's actually in our mind stream from many, many lifetime before. I mean, you don't have to like accept the like like a rebirth kind of a system, but jealous, attachment, anger, these are coming from like a big laser time. It's in our mind, but then we need to recognize this is jealous that I shouldn't get it. It's you can't really, it's an impossible that you get everything what you want, right? So be content, practice about contentment. And the contentment is actually another contentment is another kind of antidote for attachment or wanting. And then it could be also do minimize the jealous too. 1 minute. I can see that I also think an empathetic attitude and the patience to communicate and understand why their jealous is important. Okay. Do we have any more in the chat? I think it's not. Okay, so maybe we should stop here now, right? And oh, I can't hear myself. I don't know why. There's an echo. Can you? So we will stop here and we will do this dedication prayer. I have oh, if someone is unmute or what? Okay. So we will stop here. It's okay, right? Thank you so much for coming and see. It's beautiful. So finally, this like a platform workout, and we will do short dedication prayer, and I'll just recite it. I don't have to, really share what I shared, but next time we will do, like PowerPoint sharing will be good. So let's do dedication. What we have, we have whatever we have discussed that brings some, some degree of happiness for ourselves and others. And so slowly we can create a better world for oneself and others. And then for that, regard, it's very important that these noble beings who are, like who are working tirelessly to bring about happiness in the world. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and many more. So I'll just do few verses to dedicate what we have. I'm sure we have created a little bit, some drop on the ocean, some, you know, like a, virtuous thing, some beneficial thing for oneself and others, and to dedicate that to all, to bring about peace and happiness for all other sentient beings. Okay, so for that, it's very important to pray for long, His Holiness live long, and then the compassion and wisdom expand around the world, so that we could have beautiful, beautiful individual and beautiful world. In the land circled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantha Badra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtues with the dedication praised as the best by the Buddhas who appear in the three times, so that I may perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. Thank you so much. Thank you and have a good day.
Geshema, before we all depart, well, Megan was going to formally close out as the host, but I just will say that for the people that are there at Forest of Wisdom, I'll send a few questions to Melinda for you guys to discuss if you would like to have some tea and sit around and discuss for a few minutes to help process these wonderful teachings that we've received. And just as a note to everyone who's come and patiently waited during the periods of technical difficulties, we will work our best to iron those out for the future classes. Thank you. And thank you to Geshema and to Megan so much.
Yes, thank you, Geshema. Thank you
Thank
for everyone
you.
being here.
Oh yeah.
I just put in the chat as well, as far as the giving link, it's the end of the year giving time. So giving to Forest of Wisdom in order to help bring Geshema here and secure her visa, and then also to help support her stay for the next year and teachings to come. So please consider doing that. Thank you all again. And yeah, we really appreciate you. And Geshema, thank you so much. And we hope everybody has a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. See you.